We got to react to this one, man. Was Ronaldo right, man? Was Ronaldo right about United all along? Oh, man, this video right here about to drive a lot of people crazy or about to prove a lot of people right or wrong. Here we go, man. Let's react to it. Let me stop talking. I know what y'all are here for. Let's run it.
With United's poor form in the recent games, let's take a look back at Ronaldo's interview with Piers Morgan, where he talks about the shortcomings of United
Vamos.
as a club.
Let's go.
Madrid 9 years and 3 in Juventus, and when I arrived, I thought everything will be different, you know, the technology, the infrastructures and everything, but I was surprised in a bad way, let's say in that way, because I saw everything was the same.
What about the younger players and specifically their mentality?
They live in a different era. I can see my kid, they have 12 years old. The mentality, they are not the same. They are not suffer that.
What's the difference?
The anger.
We've definitely seen a lack of development when it comes to young players joining Manchester United. And so here's just a short list of players that were supposed to be United's future.
I just want to stop for 1 second and say the whole world is different. The way that we receive things now is different, you know? Like, you got to think the kids growing up nowadays, they get to just go on their phone and go on Amazon and order something and it's there at their house the next day. A lot of people like me and stuff growing up, we didn't get that. We didn't get the opportunity to be able to push one button and have it on demand. If we liked the show, we had to wait a week for the next episode, where now you can watch the whole season in one night, just chilling on your TV. So you get everything. It's more like get it now. So I understand what Ronaldo's saying, but it's just different times, you know? It's not their fault. It's just the way that life is now.
Victor Lindelof at 35 million euros.
Amazing Benfica player.
59 million euros. Harry Maguire at 87 million euros.
Oof.
Donny van de Beek at 39 million euros. Jadon Sancho, 85 million euros.
Amazing player, Dortmund.
Paul Pogba, 105 million euros. I understand that these players aren't bad. They're not horrible players. However, the expected level of potential that these young players, when they came into the club, were supposed to have, and what United got for them in return, it's definitely not worth the price tag that they paid.
Agreed.
Ronaldo talking about the Glazers.
The owners of the club, they don't.
The Glazers.
The Glazers, they don't care about the club. It's money, marketing, the sports. They don't really care, in my opinion.
Well, you must have been worried sick. I mean,
I was very worried.
You lost your baby son, and now your baby daughter's in hospital.
Exactly.
And you must have been absolutely.
I spoke with the directive and the president of Manchester United, and then kind of that didn't believe that something going wrong, which is make me feel bad.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't believe you.
The fact that there's so much distrust between the board and
That's
the
sad.
players basically says it all. I mean, there is a lack of communication.
I agree.
Understanding in all fronts. And we're already seeing this once again with the Jadon Sancho saga happening in front of our eyes. And finally, Ronaldo's thoughts on Erik ten Hag.
Do you think he respects you?
I think you don't respect the way I should deserve. It is what it is. This is why probably the game against Tottenham I left.
Well, I want to come to these two games. So against Manchester City, where United got destroyed, he didn't bring you on. You brought on other strikers, but didn't bring you on. I felt insulted on your behalf. I was like, well, surely against Manchester City, if you're losing this badly and you've got the greatest player of all time sitting there, you at least give him some time, don't you? But he didn't. And he said afterwards, the reason was he had too much respect for you. He wanted to respect you. When you heard him say that, what did you think?
Excuses.
Oof.
He has his excuses. I say many things that I don't wanna criticize him. He can have different opinion than me, that they choose the players that I think is better for the team. I respect that. But the excuses all the time, you know, the excuses have short legs. You cannot excuse all the time, which is things that don't make sense. Okay, you don't put me against Manchester City because of respect of your career, and you want to put me 3 minutes against Tottenham.
Well, that's the thing. So then you then played Tottenham.
Don't make sense.
There seems to be a clear confusion on Erik ten Hag's morals when it comes to coaching in general. Every single week, there's some weird tactical change going on, different types of substitutions that don't make sense, players on disciplinary issues. And I do understand that Ten Hag did win a trophy last season. However, the amount of money United have been spending over the last few seasons, especially on Ten Hag, they've already spent, I think, around 300 million on Ten Hag alone, just within the last 2 seasons. You cannot be expecting poor results from these guys and expect that it's so-called a process. I mean, Rashford is still struggling like he was in the beginning of last season. Disciplinary issues with players multiple times. Poor league performances, poor international performances, like in the Champions League, like in the Europa League. United have to be doing better. And if this form continues, I am not sure how longer Ten Hag would stay at United.
Listen, I just want to say a few things really quickly. First of all, I have no reaction to this video because everything is so well said. He lands this perfectly. Everything that the homie said here, and if you guys want to watch the video, the link is always in the description down below. It's just said so well, right? There's what Ronaldo said, everything he said, we all know it's true. And we all know it's facts. Now, should Ronaldo have done the interview? Still no, because it's just not his place as a player to kind of disrespect or almost like completely destroy a team publicly. These are things that had to happen behind closed doors, and hopefully they get settled. And if they don't, then you leave the club like that, right? But for United fans, I think United fans should really look at the situation and go, you know what? Listen, this guy played his heart out for us the first time he came here, and he tried to get stuff fixed for us when he left, even if it made him look like the villain. But now that I look back, man, there's so much that I agree with. Like, you look at the United Stadium when it rains heavy, the rain is just pouring into the stadium, like, bad. Like, if you're fans and you buy tickets, you can barely sit in certain sections because you're going to get soaking wet. That's not acceptable if you're Manchester United. You have, in my opinion, the best fan base in England. I'm going to get a lot of stick for that. But you can't have a stadium where the water's dropping on people that pay massive amount of money to come to your stadium. Now, you're going to get wet on a rainy day, true, but not when it's like, it looks like the waterfall, man. You got that. You have a situation where he has so many discipline problems with disciplining, like he's trying to discipline so many different players, so many different ways. Ten has bumped into so many problems with so many players. And it's just an ongoing, here's what I want to say. If Ronaldo came and had a problem at Manchester United, that's one thing. But it's Ronaldo, it's Casemiro, it's Varane, it's proven players that have had problems when they get there. And I know it's easy to point fingers at the players, but surely if the pattern continues, there must be a time where you go, you know what? Wait a minute. Something's wrong here. We buy Sancho. He doesn't perform here, but he performs it at Dortmund. You buy Ronaldo. He performs, but then there's a problem with him. You buy Varane, he's always injured. You buy Casemiro, he doesn't even look like anything like he used to look like. It's just one of those things where it's a lot of similarities. There's something is wrong. And I can't put my finger on it. Obviously, my number one person I want to blame is the Glazers. It's their club. They got to get it right, get it tight. I blame them. But when you take a step down, I just think that this is going to take a certain manager that's like a Mourinho, right? Mourinho said it publicly, what needed to happen, and they kind of sacked him for it. He said there was players that shouldn't be there. He said so much, and he got sacked for it. You get me? Pep Guardiola openly speaks on certain things. Like, you saw him pretty much say, like, the other day he did an interview and he's like, oh man, if it was based off of money, then Man United should have won. And he's calling out teams and calling out things and saying things within the Premier League, and nobody like even looks his way. But when Mourinho would call things out or say things, all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. In my opinion, I think it just takes a certain manager with a certain amount of experience, and you just gotta let him sit there and work and work and work. If Ten Hag is your guy, which I'm 10 out, but if he is your guy, you have to let him stay for the next 5-6 years. If you're not gonna fire him this season when it's like one of the worst finishes ever, you can't fire him next season. People keep saying give him one more year. No, that's trash. Either make it happen when it's terrible or keep him for the long run. You got to make a decision here. Can't give him one more season and then another season where you guys end 7 or 8, and then you have to go out and hire another manager without Champions League again or without Europa League again. And now all of a sudden it's just money that United's losing, which only hurts the fans. So at the end of the day, in my opinion, you either sack him now or you keep him for the long run, for the next 3 years, because this needs to be a project, and a manager needs to do a project. And if this is your guy, then say this is your guy and stick with him and roll with him. Anyways, I'm yapping too much, man. I'm sorry. I apologize. I started yapping for no reason. But in my opinion, if you're going to be with Ten Hag, then be with Ten Hag. If you're not, if you only see him for one more year, just sack him now and bring in who you need to bring in, because one more year is not going to be enough to fix this club. Let's just be honest with each other.